So today, I've got a press pass. I'm doing media. So I've parked up. All I need to do is find out where the press entrance is. Right, I've had a little look around. This is the press room. Pretty cool, isn't it? Although I don't know why the seats are there. That's obviously where the managers sit. Yet all the chairs are facing that way. There you go. Anyway, so I guess later on Moisey will be doing a little interview in here maybe. I don't know. Be interesting. I'm going to try and sneak in. Right, I've perched myself pitch side. You don't want to see me. Over there, we got Moisey having a little chat with some of his team. I don't know, about an hour before kick-off, so I'm going to stay here. I'm going to get some pictures. Some of the West Ham fans are just starting to filter in. There's the West Ham players. See Bowen running on there. Oh, that's that pointless me going through everyone. They're all there. Well, they're not all there, clearly. There you go, there's a Gerd. Having a kick around Ben Rama. That is... Oh, that's Bowen. He looks very much like Flynn Downs, who's over there. Players being put through their paces there. Not sure how much you could hear because it's quite loud in here. A little bit of different footage for you. It's a funny old dance, isn't it? There you go. The little press area there. My little junk section. Right, I'm going to enjoy the game. It's the start of the second half. I was going to do a little bit of a debrief of the first half, but they were playing music all through half time. It was very, very loud, and as you can't really do that on YouTube, you can't play other people's music. Very nice music, lots of 80s music actually. The only change that I can notice so far, actually there's two. So Declan Rice is on, I think, for Lanzini, and I believe El Fornicador is on in place of Ben Rama. Neither of them had brilliant first halves, as we said. I don't think anyone was particularly brilliant. As Moisey says, this is a fitness exercise to get miles into the players' legs. So they're back out, and the second half has started. Going to be really interesting to see. I think what has been evident in this game as well as Bowen's first touch has been, really good, really sharp, which is nice to see. The centre back pairing, no, I do beg your pardon, I believe the centre back pairing's changed as well. So there's that Diop who's on, which is really interesting, isn't it? That is interesting. But Agerd again, I don't know if you can see him, he's constantly telling people to keep in line. He's running the offside trap basically. That was a little goal then. I say a little goal, it was a normal sized goal. Good work down the right here where you can see that goalkeeper is there. Jarrod Bowen sort of jinky, twisty, tricked his way in, dinked the ball over, Vlasic headed in. Well, boys and girls, that's it really. That's it's finished 1-1. They're just only people mowing the lawn, but they're mowing the lawn. What was interesting, and somebody's poking the pitch with a stick down there, which is, it's crucial stuff to poke the pitch with a stick.
So while Gonzo can't find the entrance nor his chair, West Ham can't spell scamacca, here's a little sneak peek at everything that's been going on at Hammers Chat Patreon.
Another good question. This is from Ben Allen. He said, which manager was most involved and keen to get youngsters into the first team during your time? He says, he assumes Zola did, but did anybody else stand out? I mean, you've just given the example of Glenn Roeder there, of course, who obviously did confide in you.
Yeah. Yes. I would say initially, so I was there a long time. I was there over 40 years. So I would say first and foremost, it was John Lyall. I think John was, and then Ron Greenwood before him. John and Ron really were so pro-youth. They'd throw kids in, literally throw them in, sink or swim sort of scenario. And I suppose the one after that was Bonzo, Billy Bonds. He was always looking and saying, what we got, who can I put in, who can I promote? Harry was the big one that sort of tried to change our recruitment policy to get the best young players, and we had some successful years doing it through Harry, although he was a hard taskmaster and hard to please in that respect. because obviously he's setting very, very high standards. But most of the managers, Jan Franco was very keen, and what he wanted to know, he was always questioning me, who's this player, who's that player. He was always wanting to know, what young players, who do I think, he could potentially first and foremost bring into training with the first team. But obviously his tenure wasn't long enough to sort of see his sort of ambition to do that. And it didn't sort of bear fruit because he wasn't there long enough. But as time went on, less and less so, I think, because the pressure of managing and staying in the Premier League was so great. A lot of the managers after that were just more concerned with first team environments, getting the first team right, getting the next point, winning the next game. And one of them, two of them said to me, I'm not going to be here long enough to worry about what we've got, at 12 and 13 years old. I won't be here. Now, it's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the job.
Meanwhile, shock horror, I was complaining about something over on Patreon in our new series titled Not Juicy Enough, where we cover the slightly smaller West Ham United topics. And it is rise in Premier League adult season tickets. And as you can see, West Ham United are there. We're at the very bottom. Minus £21. Our cheapest season ticket in the Premier League for next season has got £21 cheaper compared to the season's just finished. Now that sounds good, but it is so misleading. It is unbelievable. So this is a season that's just finished. You can see there, season ticket 2021-22 pricing. All we need is the bands and the adults. That's the two columns we're going to be concentrating on. So let me click on this now. So if I move this over, so underneath what you've got on your screen now is next season's ticket prices from the official website as well. We can compare the adults prices. So let's start with the 1966 club. Well, it was 1,200 last season. It's gone up 60 quid for next season. Not only that, they put in a band above it for £1.5 grand. They're obviously reconfiguring the West Stand this summer. They're putting a 1966 club over there, and they're sticking it up to £1.5 grand. And 2. Oh look, that's also gone up there. And was that £45 increase? Let's go down to band 3. That's also jumped up. Now, what I will say, it's not jumping up loads, is it? Let's go down to band 4. It's gone up by 30 quid. Band 5 has gone up by £15. That's not much. What I will say, in fairness to the club, £335 for a band 5 season ticket for 19 games of Premier League football is still very, very cheap in my opinion. £15 increase is less than £1 a game. So band 5, which was the cheapest season ticket last season, so if you sat in a band 5 seat last season, you paid 320 quid, it's gone up next season. So you haven't seen your price come down. It's simply because they've added a band 6. Nobody, literally nobody, has had a price decrease in their season ticket seat. Unless you've relocated into a band 6, everybody's season ticket has gone up this season. However, that table irritated me so much, but it was seeing people employed by the club promoting the article and praising themselves. I thought, you've not done anything. You've added seats that are further away from the pitch and priced them accordingly. That's all you've done.
Oh, I suppose Glenn Johnson was one that was always there or thereabouts and showing good promise. But I could never have imagined he'd have gone on and had the career he had. And, I was only too pleased, when he did make his debut. And the story behind his debut was that Glenn Roeder was the manager and the team was struggling, and we eventually did get relegated. And he was struggling for defenders and right backs, and he didn't have a centre forward, play Ian Pearce up front, which was a disaster. And he ended up saying, "Do you think this is Glenn Roeder saying to me? Do you think Glenn Johnson is good enough to play for us at right back?" And he'd been on loan at Millwall, and I'd watched him a few times there, and he didn't uproot too many trees. Did okay, and for a West Ham player to play for Millwall anyway, it's not the easiest. But I said to him, "Glenn, you'll never know until you put him in." And to be fair, he put him in, and he was a revelation. He played without fear, showed the pace and strength that he'd had, and were his assets, and grew from strength to strength. And I suppose the moral of the story is that you have to blood these kids to find out what they can do under the pressure of the sort of first team environment. And certainly that year, a relegation threatened team. And Glenn was brilliant. I think he played the last 13, 14 games, relegation did happen, and like all, you know, you have to sell your assets to survive. And we sold Glenn to Chelsea. He didn't want to go, but we sold him. So he was one that really, I would say, I could never have said 2 years previously he would have achieved that.
You know, because we've got our Addicts WhatsApp group and things like that. I was having a little read up of it yesterday. And someone posted the thing about him being his dad smashing up the chairman's car or something like that. And
Yeah, I put that in. Is early 2021, his dad went round and smashed up the Roma executive's car. Then in November of the same year, his granddad got done for going into a bar with a knife.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how this passes the Moyes character test.
Mate, I love it. I can't wait. If we sell Declan Rice a year next year, Scamacca's dad's going to rock up and smash up Sullivan's gaff. I can't wait for it. I'm here for it. We've had 2 years of like stable West Ham. I almost missed the nonsense. I almost missed the circus element. This guy's bringing it in style. I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest with you.
Good question, Nick. He said, how did you first find out about the young Mark Noble? What were your first thoughts on him? Did you ever think he'd spend his whole career at West Ham?
Yeah, interesting. My first knowledge of Mark Noble was our head of recruitment, which is obviously scouting young players, was Jimmy Hampson. And me and Jimmy worked very closely together. So Jimmy's job was identifying the players, going out with his team of scouts and looking all over the parks and watching all the teams. And there was this young boy who lived in Canning Town, and we were chasing him. You know, he said, "Got Mark Noble." He said he's training at Arsenal, he's training at Tottenham, and you know, he obviously comes to us now and again. He said, "I've just heard wind." He said that he's signing for Arsenal tomorrow. I said, "No way, can't do that." So he said, "Me and Jimmy," this is his other oppo, Jimmy Tyndall and Jimmy Hampson, went round his house in Canning Town and knocked on the door, and they said, Mark, was just, you know, we talk about, you know, coming to West Ham and signing the forms. And so his dad said, "Well, come in, have a cup of tea." So he sat down there and had a cup of tea. But Mark had just come in from school, and they didn't leave till 10 o'clock in the evening. He said, "We were playing with the kids on the floor." He said, "We wouldn't leave until Mark signed the form." He said, "We just wouldn't leave until Mark signed the registration form." He said, "But we stayed there. We're playing with his young brother and sister on the floor. We sent out for pizzas for something to eat, and you know, we just try to create a bond and saying, look, we ain't leaving until he signs." Unfortunately, I don't think it was quite arm behind the back, because Mark was was West Ham through and through. Just needed convincing, and he said he was getting fed up with the journey going across to Arsenal anyway, and West Ham was up the road. So yeah, he said, "West Ham's my team anyway," and he signed. And obviously, Mark came in training, and he was the player that we all, you know, thought he would be. He was a leader even in them days.
Was he?
Even at sort of 12, 13, he was a leader then. He would tell Peter what to do, lead by example, want the ball, demand the ball. Very demonstrative and very, very confident with his own ability. But he wasn't cocky confident. He was confident with his ability because he had it.
That's just some of the content over on Patreon during July, but what about August? Well, we're kicking the month off with a Q&A with Tony Cotty on Monday evening, and following that up later on in the month with Ian Bishop. And the best thing about these Q&As, the patrons are in charge. They choose their questions. As it's a summer transfer window, Hammers Chat been working on our own signings, and while West Ham United last night announced Gianluca Scamacca, we're announcing our own big man as Mike is back. He'll be exclusive to patrons next season, offering up his unique take on all things West Ham United. In the month of August, we expect to produce 30 videos over on Hammers Chat, so if you wish to get involved, please head to patreon.com/Hammers Chat or check out the link that can be found in either the description or the pinned comments of this video, and hopefully we'll see you over there. And lastly, to those who have headed over to our Patreon to support the channel and to allow us to make content every single day on YouTube, thank you.